Welcome to Swish and Flick, an all Potter podcast.
Swish and flick. Everyone? Swish and flick.
Hello and welcome to episode 87 of Swish and Flick. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Megan.
I'm Katie.
I'm Harris.
And this episode is sponsored by Dana Monsees. Thank you, Dana.
Thanks, Dana.
Today we will be discussing chapter 16 of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, or the Hot Cup of Fire. That threw me off. But the chapter title is actually The Goblet of Fire. So we're
on purpose.
reading The Goblet of Fire, and the chapter is Goblet of Fire, or Hot Cup, whatever you prefer. So I hope you're ready to dive into the details. And before we begin, Meg has something for our weekly profit.
I do. It's more so a rumor, but I thought that this could be a nice little discussion. So, like, over the past couple months, we've gotten word from, like, Australia and Canada that Netflix got all of the Harry Potter films, or some of them.
Interesting.
And I think France, maybe. But, like, America's not getting them.
Why?
Well,
Is it
the
'cause we
rumor...
complain about not having them?
No.
The rumor is really annoying, if I'm going to be honest, because apparently Warner Media and NBC Universal are starting their own streaming service.
Ugh.
Can we
Goodbye.
stop this nonsense?
No, well, Disney's doing it, so why not them?
Well, right, exactly. It makes more sense. I don't know. I mean, like, I'm not trying to just be a Disney defender.
Oh, sorry, didn't know it was a video.
I'm not trying to be a Disney defender, but, like, it makes more sense for them to have their own because they have so much content and, like, so much old content that they could bring back that people would be interested in streaming. But, like, every single movie, you know, company can't now have their own. That's going to be so frustrating.
Yeah.
It sucks. But they say that Harry Potter's not coming to Netflix in America because apparently in 2019 and 2020, Warner Media and NBC Universal both have streaming services launching. So that's two different streaming services launching in the next 2 years.
That's crazy. How much money do they need from me?
I mean, I won't pay for it because I don't care enough.
No, but it's just like, it's
I don't pay for
frustrating
anything now.
because like streaming services came about to save you money on cable, and now there's so many streaming services,
Well,
it's almost as much as cable.
It's almost
That's
like
what I was gonna say.
the whole point of it really is to have everything in one place.
Right.
And now you have to go A, B, and C places. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's totally defeating the purpose of streaming services. So it's really frustrating because now you can pretty much bet that all NBC and Warner Brothers movies are going to leave Netflix and Hulu and everything, and they're going to go to that
but
streaming
Disney
service.
as well, right?
Disney is leaving. Yeah, Netflix.
Well, they pulled everything off of Netflix anyways, and then all of the new movies they're gonna go on Netflix for a while anyways, and then so like Beauty and the Beast I think is already gone.
It's gone like tomorrow, I think, or Monday.
Yeah.
And then Christopher Robin is coming on.
Yeah.
But it's like alternating. They're only putting the movies for a very short period of time and alternating them and whatnot because they're all going to be on their own streaming service.
Just so annoying.
Also, we all have the movies, so if we wanted to actually stream them ourselves, we could put them in a DVD player and watch them.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
But for the people who don't do that, you know?
It's just
annoying.
I just am really over like every single thing getting its own streaming service. Like that defeats the purpose of them.
Yeah.
And it's getting frustrating.
I just want, like, Netflix. Give me a variety of things.
Yeah, like I'm okay with like paying for 2, 3 tops. No more than that. I'm not going to branch off more than
lot, though,
I'm
depending
not
on
going to
what the
branch
price
off more
is.
of Netflix and Hulu and
Yeah,
then
but
probably Disney because that's who I am.
What
but
if
like
they're $20 a month? So you're
Exactly.
at $60, and then what if you still have cable, which is insane anyway?
yeah, it's
You know
ridiculous.
what I'm saying? Like, who wants to spend $250 when you add in wireless? Nobody wants to do that.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not gonna waste my money on that.
That's crazy to me. Whatever. I'll just buy your DVDs, Disney.
I mean,
Again, I would do
I like
Disney.
have almost all of them anyway, but I'll probably stream it just because they'll put super old stuff that like probably isn't even released anymore on there,
Yeah.
which will be really cool.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
But-
I would do Disney, and I like Netflix. I don't ever really watch Hulu anyways.
I really only watch Hulu for The Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah.
But like I don't like I have a profile on my dad's Netflix, and then I have a profile on my sister's Hulu, so I pay nothing. Yay me! But I guess they're cracking down on that. They're gonna see like how many profiles you have, and then charge you more.
Yeah.
Because I technically also have one on Matt's Netflix, because Matt's Netflix is on the TV. I'm boothing on that.
Yeah, it's you know, it is what it is.
It's the times, man. It's the times.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, it's time for the recap.
Ooh, bringing it back to classic. All right. Last time, Harry tried to lie to Sirius about his scar in an attempt to stop him from traveling and risking getting caught. But nice try, Harry. Sirius's own words. He makes it back in town safe and sound, though. We find out Harry has a strong mind and can resist the Imperious Curse. It's announced when the students from Beauxbatons and Dormstring, is that how you say it? We just learned. Will arrive, and the school can't talk of anything but the Triwizard Tournament. Fred and George are still being secretive. Hermione's still on a house elf rampage. Beauxbatons arrives in a horse-drawn carriage the size of a house, and Dormstring emerges from the lake on a giant ship. And who's on that ship? Grum.
Oh gosh. Things get fiery in this chapter, or one would say a whole goblet full of fire. Students, old and new, gather in the Great Hall for the welcome feast with some added dishes from other countries. Ron is not pleased. The students find out who the judgy people are going to be, and they have 24 hours to put their name in a hot cup that flames, and it will choose the people. So Dumbledore draws a line in the sand, on the floor, and people were wishing they were older to cross it when there's consequences, I guess is what I meant to say. So Harry, Ron, and Hermione visit Hagrid, and once at the Halloween feast, I don't know why I struggled to read that word. The names are called with a surprise ending, the end all be all. Harry Potter.
Victor Krum. So
I need a
Ron
meme.
basically loses his mind.
You spelled Victor wrong too.
Oh, I'm not right.
Victor.
I knew
Vicky.
Vicky.
Isn't that a song from what's that show? Fairly Odd Parents, Icky Vicky.
Yes.
Throwback.
That's another one we could talk about on our Nickelodeon podcast.
Get out of here.
Along with my shiny teeth and me.
Yeah.
Sung by the
That's
same
Chris
Chip,
Kirkpatrick
Yeah.
is the singer.
Chip Skylark.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So good.
You can guess for Rocco's Modern Life.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Hermione's basically telling Ron to chill out because he's only a Quidditch player. And Ron's like, no, he is one of the best seekers in the world. Second to Harry Potter. Ron didn't know that he was still in school, which I find to be pretty interesting, seeing as how Ron is like very up to date on the wide world of Quidditch.
Right, and he like loves Crumb.
Yeah.
I feel like that right there is just like a telltale sign of a difference between Europe and America. like here we would know everything about that player. Everything down to his favorite color, his favorite food, where he was yesterday, what he was wearing, what he's doing. Whereas like in England, it's
Who's
just
he
like
snogging?
it's just like, oh yeah, he's a Quidditch player. He's the best seeker in the world. End of story. That's it.
Yeah.
It's
But
quite
I wonder,
different.
too, nowadays we would know everything about it. But I wonder, 20 years ago,
Right.
they might not know. More than 20 years
Yeah,
ago.
I was
they might
gonna
have
say.
the technology.
Yeah, 20 years ago, all they cared about was like the royals. I mean, it's true. Just watch The Crown. It'll tell you all you need to know.
It's a good show.
Lee Jordan is trying to get a better look by jumping up and down. I just thought that was pretty amusing. 60 girls are searching their pockets to try and find Quills to get his autograph. And one of them says, do you think he'd sign my hat and lipstick?
Oh my god.
I'll do it.
Probably.
I've been in that moment though, like, oh my god, I don't have a Sharpie.
Hermione is judging pretty hardcore. And I said, come on, Hermione, you need to have a little bit of fun.
Yeah, she's a little uptight.
very, very opinionated in this chapter.
Yeah.
Lots of peppers.
Yes. Ron wants his autograph too, but no one has a quill for him. And I said, well, your tune's going to change soon enough when it comes to Crumb.
Oh, yeah.
Crumb and the other students from Dormstring were wondering where to sit, and they ended up settling in at the Slytherin table.
Yeah, that's right. I got the cool guy.
I mean,
Crumb's
Sorry.
okay. There's nothing wrong with him.
I have Luna. Woohoo! And Cho.
I'd rather have the whole thing than a crumb.
Well, you also have all of the Bobaton students because they sat at the Ravenclaw table.
Katie gets Cedric. Woohoo!
yeah.
Not for much longer.
Oh.
Okay.
Get out.
Goodness deep real quick.
So the Bobaton students are being pretty judgy. They had their shawls around their heads and they had really glum faces. And I'll get to another quote later on where they're being pretty judgy. And I said, I bet they wish they were totally hating on Hogwarts right now. Yeah.
When I was rereading this part, I legit just thought of Queenie going, I can't tell if you're making a joke or if you're just French.
Oh my gosh.
Don't be judgy.
So when the Durmstrang students came in, Ron's pretty much like trying to push Hermione off the seat to make room for the students because he really wants Crumb to be at their table.
Poor Hermione.
So when they end up sitting with Slytherin, Malfoy's, and his little crew of cronies are looking very smug that they got Crumb and the Durmstrang students sitting at their table. Ron was very upset about this turn of events. And I said he's like fanboying really, really hard. And he's also like trying to give up his bed in order to have Crumb be able to stay in the Gryffindor common room. Like he's like, I bet I could like sleep on a camp bed or something like that.
So funny.
And Hermione like snort laughs at this, pretty much making fun of him.
You guys want to compare me to like Ron with Crumb and me and Taylor, but I was literally sick. I wouldn't have been thinking of these things. I like wanted to vomit.
Yeah,
She did. She wanted to.
I know.
I mean, like I wish that I had had his enthusiasm, but
No.
that's not the truth.
So the peeps from Durmstrang are taking off their furs and they're looking around and they're examining how awesome the ceiling is. And
It sounds funny. They're taking off their furs.
they were.
What?
You've seen Anastasia when they're not performing, but they're trialing Anastasia's. Grandma,
Yeah.
it's me,
Anastasia.
She's got furs on. That's what I think of. Sorry to interrupt you.
You need to watch it
Love
too.
that movie.
I know I
So
should.
good.
It's coming to
You've never seen that
Playhouse.
movie? It's so
The musical's coming to Playhouse Square.
It is so good.
Maybe I'll see the musical.
I'm going to.
They're also admiring the golden plates and the goblets. They're impressed, as you should be. We ballin' at Hogwarts. Phil's just busy adding chairs to the head table, and he's wearing his best moldy tailcoat in honor for the occasion. I said maybe he got it at the same shop as Ron's dress robe.
I wonder if they matched.
I hope so. Filch adds 4 more chairs, 2 on either side of Dumbledore, and Harry questions this, but Ron is like pretty much not paying attention to him. He's like he like only has eyes for Crumb. It's insane. Madame Maxime comes in, and the Bobaton students jump to their feet, and some of the Hogwarts students laugh at this, but it's just a sign of respect, and this reminds me of, different customs that different cultures have, and I just put a note in here that I always try to talk to my students about this and how to be respectful, because we do a morning share every morning, and we'll do like favorite food. And some kids are like, well, we eat a lot of like fish at home. And kids will be like, but I'm like, listen,
Everybody's allowed to like what they want.
hard
like.
no.
Someone's gonna think that your cereal's ew because they like to eat fish in the morning. You know what I mean?
Who eats fish in the morning, though? Is it a thing? Oh, I guess bagels and lox and stuff.
I mean,
Or like bagels
Yeah,
and
yeah.
salmon. And,
but like just
That's what
about
that is.
being
Oh.
respectful.
yeah,
And so my man comes on up because he's amazing. And he says, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, ghosts and most particularly guests," said Dumbledore, beaming around at the foreign students. "I have great pleasure in welcoming you all to Hogwarts. I hope and trust that your stay here will be both comfortable and enjoyable." And some Bobaton girl was being rude. She was like, basically like, and so Hermione's like, "No one's making you stay."
yeah.
But she whispered it, so it wasn't like that,
She should have said it out loud.
I know. She was being
Say it.
defensive about the best school in the world, and, So
Isn't
there's
that a
that.
specific person that we know?
Yeah.
That's what it. Yeah.
So the tournament will be
It was Fleur, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
probably. The tournament will be officially opened at the end of the feast, said Dumbledore. I now invite you all to eat, drink, and make yourselves at home. So the speech is over for the first part, and the plate's filled with yummy foods. And it says the house elf seems to have pulled out all the stops because this meal is fierce. There is a wide variety of food in front of them, and it's more than usual. And I said, I like this. It's making the guests feel more at home. Mm-hmm. But Ron, you know, he's being Ron, and he's pretty much closed off to new foods. And I said, Megan, eat the brioche bun.
It's not that I don't like brioche.
Just didn't want it.
one.
Oh, my God. So Ron says, what's that? Said Ron, pointing at a large dish of some sort of shellfish stew that stood beside a large steak and kidney pudding. Bouillabaisse, said Hermione. Bless you, said Ron. It's French, said Hermione. I had it on holiday summer before last. It's very nice. I'll take your word for it, said Ron, helping himself to black pudding. Come on, Ron.
Not that
He'll
I'm
eat
with
black
him,
pudding, but he won't try bouillabaisse.
but I'd rather. Well, I like black pudding,
I mean, I guess when you
Used
grow
to
up
it.
with it, you
Yeah.
don't think about it, but
but I'm an adventurous eater. I'd try it at least.
Yeah,
I'm
try
the
it.
most adventurous eater sitting at this table. Let's
All right.
Lying is a sin.
Gonna continue. There are barely 20 more students in the Great Hall, with both of the schools being there. But it seemed to be even more crowded. The dorm strength students removed their their robes, like their outer robes, and what they're wearing is deep blood red robes, which I thought was pretty cool. I like that blood red.
Do you think they're stained with real blood?
I would hope.
Of Grindelwald's enemies.
Whoa. Hagrid comes into the hall about 20 minutes late, and he slid into his seat, and he was waving at the trio, and I think that's super cute. And they noticed that his hand was heavily bandaged, and it says, Skrewts doing all right, Hagrid? Harry called. Thriving, Hagrid called back happily. Yeah, I'll just bet they are, said Ron quietly. Looks like they finally found a food they like, doesn't it? Hagrid's fingers. And then a girl comes over from Beauxbatons, and she was the same one that laughed during Dumbledore's speech. She finally removed her muffler, and she had a long sheet of silvery blonde hair, and it fell almost to her waist.
What is a muffler?
Isn't it like, is that for your hands? Yeah.
Yeah.
You put your
That's
hands
what
in
I
it.
thought, but it just confused me because, like, then they talk about her hair, and I'm like, why do you say she removed her muffler and
Oh,
now
well,
she's
maybe
got
it's
long
different.
hair?
Maybe it's like one of those things.
Well, maybe-
it's like a scarf.
They want to talk about the fact that like she had long hair. Velas have like hair.
No, I know.
Feelers do
It's
have
just
hair.
a weird sentence.
She-
It made me confused as to what a muffler was. But go ahead.
Well, she had large, deep blue eyes and very white, even teeth. Ron went purple
Swish and flick purple.
because she asks, "Excuse me, are you wanting the bouillabaisse?" And Ron basically can't talk. He makes a gurgling sound, and Harry's like, yeah, go ahead and have it. You have finished with it? Yeah, Ron said breathlessly. Yeah, it was excellent. You're an idiot. And basically that's also what Hermione thinks. But I find this interesting because she picks up the dish, goes back to the Ravenclaw table, and I was like, why didn't it refill? Don't the
yeah.
dishes refill?
Maybe the international food didn't because the elves only had so many ingredients.
Okay.
Let me tell you, I opened up this recipe though, and it looks nasty.
Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna run on this one, but I did pull up a bouillabaisse recipe from foodandwine.com. Yeah. So
Not my cup of tea.
it's got leeks, onion, fennel, garlic.
All that so far is fine.
I'm literally reading this going, I'm like, there's nothing in her I wouldn't eat.
There's a lot of fish in it.
Fish
I like
stock,
fish.
lobster.
There's a lot of fish.
Fish stock, lobster, clams, monkfish,
Yep.
red snapper,
Snapper,
and
halibut. Yeah.
Sounds like a Gordon Ramsay dish.
I would try it.
I do not say blah blah blah, but Meg
I'm
does.
I'm not into seafood that much, so it's not
You gotta really
my
like
kind
it.
of thing. So, So Harry laughs at Ron, and that pretty much snaps him out of it. And he was like, she's a Vila. And Hermione's like, no, she's not. No one else is gaping at her like an idiot. And then, but that's not completely true, because across the Great Hall, many of the other boys, somebody who's Swish and Flick, get out of here. Okay. Were temporarily speechless when she walked back, and Ron is like so sure that that is not a normal girl, and he says they don't make them like that at Hogwarts.
Ooh.
And Harry disagrees, and he replies with, they make them all right at Hogwarts, and he's thinking about Cho. Ooh la la. So
How about Ginny?
not yet. Hermione draws their attention to who just arrived, and it's Ludo Bagman and Barty Crouch Senior. Harry is very surprised to see them there. But he shouldn't be, because Hermione knows that they organized the tournament, and I'm surprised that she didn't tell them this. But they're shocked just the same.
Sorry to go back, but Paisha asked a good question in the Discord chat. Why do you think Jo portrayed Fleur so negatively initially? Or is that just me finding her super annoying?
No, I think it's part of her character arc.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Isaiah then replied and said, I never found her annoying. I just figured she was French. LOL, kind of like Queenie.
I don't know. I just figured it was part of her arc, because I feel like she comes in feeling like she's just like high and mighty and competing in the tournament itself and not doing very well at all. I feel like knocks her down a peg, and she has to become like a real person. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then in marrying Bill later on, I think it's just all part of her story and getting along with Molly and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I enjoy it. You know,
So do I.
You know, as rude as she is now, I like how she ends up.
I agree.
I also shout out to any of our listeners who might be from France. We love you.
All the French people who have contacted us, super nice.
'Tis true. The golden plates, golden,
Oh,
are cleaned, and they're ready to start something great. Harry feels a slight thrill, and everyone seemed to be so excited to begin. The moment has come, said Dumbledore, smiling around at the sea of upturned faces. The Tri-Wizard Tournament is about to start. I would like to say a few words of explanation before we bring in the casket. The what? You're all gonna die. No.
Oh my god.
Just to clarify the procedure that we will be following this year. But first, just let me introduce, for those of you who do not know them, Mr. Bartimus Crouch, head of the Department of International Magical Cooperation. There was a smattering of polite applause. And Mr. Ludo Bagman, head of the Department of Magical Games and Sports. And there's a much louder round of applause for Bagman. He's
But
pretty
not
much
really.
famous.
Woohoo! Quidditch player.
Yes. So
What?
we find out they've been working really hard for the last few months arranging the tournament, and they will be judges as well as the other school leaders. Filch brings over the casket after lurking about in the corner of the hall.
Creep.
Correct. And the casket is covered in jewels, and it looks extremely old. If you go to Pottermore, there is a snippet of and a little bit of like a reading on the Goblet of Fire. It is a flame-filled wooden cup, which is impartial selector of the Tri-Wizard Champions.
how ironic.
Magical properties. The ability to pick the most worthy candidates from the names that are entered.
Maybe.
Possible. Could it
I
be?
think it's funny that it's a wooden cup that's on fire.
Hoodwinked. Yeah, so there's not really much. It's just a lot of movie stuff. Pardon. Dennis Creevy stands on his chair trying to be able to see, but just like me, on top of a chair, he still can't see.
Feel
I
ya.
feel that.
Feel ya.
So I wanted to end my section with my main man's explanations of what's going to happen. The instructions for the task the champions will face this year have already been examined by Mr. Crouch and Mr. Bagman, said Dumbledore, as Filch placed the chest carefully on the table before him. And they have made the necessary arrangements for each challenge. There will be 3 tasks spaced throughout the school year, and they will test the champions in many different ways. Their magical prowess, their daring, their powers of deduction, and of course, their ability to cope with danger. At this last word, the hall was filled with silence, so absolute that no one seemed to be breathing. Take a breath. As you know, 3
Katie.
Sorry,
Champions.
I was taking a breath.
Compete in the tournament. Dumbledore went on calmly.
Weird.
One from each of the participating schools. They will be marked on how well they perform each of the tournament tasks, and the champion with the highest total after task 3 will win the Triwizard Cup. The champions will be chosen by
Trojan.
Trojan.
Are you
by
Sean Connery?
I am. I'm Walter Cronkite. Impartial selector, the Goblet of Fire. Whew. Dumbledore now took out his wand and tapped 3 times on top of the casket, and the lid creaked slowly open. And there was a vampire! No, I'm just kidding. All right.
Oh my god.
Dumbledore reached inside and pulled out a large, roughly hewn wooden cup. It would have been entirely unremarkable had it not been full to the brim with dancing blue-white flames. Dumbledore closed the casket and placed the goblet carefully on top, where it would be clearly visible to everyone in the hall, except Dennis Creevy. Anybody wishing to submit themselves as champion must write... All right, you want to be champion, okay? He wants to be champion. So anybody wants to be champion must write their name and school clearly upon a slip of parchment and drop it into the goblet, said Dumbledore. Aspiring champions have 24 hours in which to put their names forward. Tomorrow night, Halloween, the goblet will return the names of the 3 it has judged most worthy to represent the schools. The goblet will be placed in the entrance hall tonight, where it will be freely accessible to all of those wishing to compete. Done.
Dun, dun.
Green.
Well, there's a little trick here, though.
Oh, do tell.
Dumbledore announces that he's going to be drawing an age line around the Goblet of Fire. So he'd already told them that the age limit was going to be 17 at this point. Thank you. But he had not told them how that was going to be, enforced. Mm-hmm. To me, though, this seems easy. Are there no other ways, no better ways to ensure that no one underage will enter? There are ways around this. I mean, Dumbledore says it himself that, he asks Harry, did an older student put your name in the goblet for you?
We're not there yet, so I don't know what you're saying.
But it just, I feel like there could have been a better way.
Well, but here's my thing, though. Even with him asking him that, it's still the 4th champion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I think that, negates stuff a little bit. I think he realized, oh, shoot, it was tampered with if 4 champions came out of it. But I think it works where people grow beards and stuff.
Yeah, I guess I feel like...
Well, what would you
I don't
have
think there's
it do?
so many ways around it. People try it and they get denied.
What would you do differently?
I don't know. I'm not Dumbledore.
Okay.
Megan would have knives shoot up and stab him.
Be some booby trap.
I don't know. Honestly, probably have somebody patrol it.
That'd be a good idea.
Yeah, that's not a bad
It's
idea.
not like it's...
It's
It's only for 24 hours. Have the teachers alternate and only let someone pass the age line.
do it. They don't have enough on their plates.
Tiffany, do it.
do it.
You could have the armored suit.
The ghosts.
suit
Yeah,
suit.
the suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody.
Do your duty to your school.
Or have the portraits be watching and be like, yo, Dumbledore,
Yeah.
broski, homeboys trying to...
I just feel like there's so
hop
many
over the line.
there's so many people and objects watching in the school at all times
Private eyes.
that I just feel like there's so many things and people watching at all times at the school that it would be... I think it's pretty remarkable that nobody saw Judy do what he did.
I think he did it... Oh, I guess he would have had to.
Could he be under
could
an
have done it at
invisibility cloak?
3 o'clock in the morning.
I know, but I'm just saying, still, ghosts, portraits,
Or maybe they
Armor.
didn't think anything of it because he's a teacher.
probably. Yeah, I don't know.
Just teaching around.
Just thinking my thoughts.
I gotta go get her.
Dumbledore impresses on the students that by entering this is a contract that they are signing. So, if they're chosen, there is absolutely no way that you can change your mind.
Magically binding.
Yes. So these tasks are dangerous. So I also found just like the Wikia has a little thing about the age line. It's not really much more than we know, but I just thought that I would bring it up.
What color do you think it is?
It says it's gold.
Oh, that's
What
funny. In
color
my
would
head,
you
I
do?
pictured it blue.
Well, in the
pictured it
movie,
white.
it was blue
It was
and
silver
white. In the movie, it was like a blue
That's
white.
probably
Because
why.
I think of like a chalk line.
Yeah. So it
but
says
gold makes more sense.
It was the outline of the death of the Triwizard Tournament. Get it? Chalk line, outline, chalk
Oh
outline.
my god. It did come in a casket.
So we don't know the incantation to cast the age line enchantment, but it is used to prevent people above or below a specified age from accessing a specific object or place. Alana would be much too young to enter the Triwizard Tournament. Did you like that I said your name? Hi, Alana.
Sweet pea.
Hi, Alana. So on the 30th of October, 1994, Albus Dumbledore casts the age line on the Goblet of Fire in the Great Hall at Hogwarts Castle to restrain underage students from placing their names in the goblet for the Triwizard Tournament. He traced a thin golden line with a 10-foot diameter on the floor around the goblet to show how far out the enchantment reached, so people couldn't pass within 10 feet of the goblet.
Lob it in
Couldn't
there.
toss it in. So people who attempted to bypass the
Ask
line
LeBron. He probably could have.
had something happen to them, and we'll talk about that shortly. So Fred and George are psyched. They're like, an age line? This is easy. We'll just take a drop of age potion. Once our name is in there, it won't know how old we are. And Hermione is not convinced. She says, there's a reason there's an age line. We haven't learned enough to do the tasks. And then Fred and George laugh and say, speak for yourself.
I love this scene in the book when she's sitting there and she's like, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And then he's like, why is that, Granger? It's so good.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, slams her book.
I think this is also one of those moments where people are like, I could totally see Hermione and Fred together. Yeah? What else do you think?
Don't bite it. That's silly.
Okay, so the aging potion also has a Wikia page. And it is a potion, a powerful potion that causes the drinker to temporarily become older. So I did always wonder, is it just temporary? Whoa.
You're awesome.
She's so cute. She like makes noise and she's like, I gotta look at everyone. Yeah. Tell us more. What do you think about an aging potion? Huh?
Do you want an aging potion?
No. We don't. We want to stay a baby.
You're so cool. All right, we'll never finish. Keep going, Meg.
Okay. So it is temporary. It only temporarily makes you become older. And the more the potion is drunk, the larger the aging which occurs.
So could you take like a whole vial and get like super old?
Yeah.
But it would only last for so long.
Yes. Also,
Don't blink.
Yeah.
what?
I don't know.
Don't blink. They say that about like kids, don't blink because before you know it, they're like,
Oh, don't put that in your mouth. If it's plugged in.
It's not.
Okay.
Oh, wait. I mean, it is, yeah. Wall. That missed the computer.
So yeah, the only time that we ever see use really of the aging potion is in Goblet of Fire.
yeah.
Harry imagines, so after Fred and George are like, well, you're going to enter, aren't you, Harry? So he imagines himself winning and then wonders just how mad Dumbledore would be if someone did get past the age line. And then I
Well.
said, well, it depends on the book or the movie, I say.
I didn't see your note, and I was going to say that. That's so funny.
Because in the book, it's pretty calm. And in the movie, it's not.
Oh my gosh.
At all.
So Ron's is not listening to the conversation at all because he is looking for Crumb. Dumbledore didn't say where the Durmstrang students were sleeping, did he? He asked. They see Karkaroff get up and gather his students, and they're heading back to the ship. And he specifically asks Victor if he had enough to eat or if he wants any mulled wine from the kitchens. And a different boy says, Professor, I would like some wine. I wasn't offering it to you, Polikoff. I notice you have dribbled food all down the front of your robes again. Disgusting boy. And I said, okay, this poor kid. Why is Victor getting such special treatment? It's gross. I hate teachers and people like Karkaroff. So,
Yeah, because how is that other kid going to feel? First of all, you're embarrassing him in front of his peers and in front of
it's kind of another
strange peers.
It reminds me very much of the ferret situation, but like different.
Yeah.
Calling somebody
Yeah.
out like that, putting them down. It's not cool.
But I feel like, not condoning this, but I think that is very much his teaching style, and they're probably used to it. So he knew he was going to
Yeah.
ask, and he wasn't going to get anything, and
True.
he's a jerk. You know?
Yeah.
Side note, mulled wine is quite delicious.
Oh my gosh, it's
it's
so
alright.
good.
I like it.
It's not my favorite. I don't hate it
I just like that it's warm and cozy.
because typically it's made with red. It's made with red wine,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I don't hate it.
So as Karkaroff and the students are leaving, Harry moves aside for them, and then they meet eyes. Karkaroff and Harry meet eyes as they leave, and he stops to take Harry in. It's kind of creepy. So he stops, and then he slowly moves his eyes up his face to stop at Harry's scar. Karkaroff is clearly hating on him here because, he banished his lord. Mad-Eye Judy comes around and says, yeah, that's Harry Potter, and his voice is all gruff and everything. So Karkaroff spins around and is scared because he sees who he thinks is Moody, but it's actually Judy. He should be scared either way, honestly, though.
True.
Because
Yeah.
one, this is Mad-Eye Judy playing his part well because he is an Auror. Mad-Eye Moody is an Auror who captured dark wizards and is very known for that. And Karkaroff, I'm sure, knows that Moody would know that he was a Death Eater.
Well, he was there.
He was on trial. Like, he knew.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's scared in that sense. But he should also be scared because Mad-Eye Judy sees Karkaroff as a coward. Mm-hmm. He got out of Azkaban and gave away other Death Eaters' names. So he put Judy in jail,
Yes.
actually.
Yeah.
So he super hates him. And I think that just helps Judy play Moody's role here really well.
True.
Yes.
I'm sorry for anybody who finds that super confusing, but just, catch on to the fact that Judy is Barty Crouch Jr. as Moody.
We're just training your brains.
Well, we just want to remember, because I know it's hard for me to remember that this is not the actual Moody.
It's
Correct.
real
We're
hard.
dealing
It is.
with the fake
Barty
Moody,
Crouch Jr.
Barty Crouch Jr. Moody, David Tennant Moody.
Yes.
Moody. Moody.
So according to JK, the next day was a Saturday, though it actually was a Monday in real time life. The students normally would have gone down to the breakfast late, but the hot cup of fire is out and waiting patiently for names. It's pretty hungry right now. It was placed on the stool that normally holds the sorting hat, and there's a visible thin gold line around it, which is the age line. So Ron asks the third year who is there what's happened if anybody's entered, and she says that the Durmstrang lot have entered their names. And then here come Fred, George, and Lee, looking super happy as can be. They're so excited. They just took the aging potion, just one drop, because they only need to be a few months older to get past the line. And Hermione is convinced it won't work. And she says Dumbledore will have thought of this. I mean, she's not wrong. So they step over the line. And for a second, Harry thinks it works. And then both twins are hurled out of the golden circle and thrown across the hall. They land 10 feet away. And with a pop, long white beards sprout on them. Lee Jordan is laughing hysterically at them. And Dumbledore appears, like out of nowhere and is just like, you guys should probably go to Madame Pomfrey. She's already tending to Miss Fawcett, who is Percy's love interest, correct?
No.
Is
That's
it?
Penelope Clearwater.
Oh, you're right.
She's the one that she lives near them because they mentioned her at the
That's
beginning of the
right.
book.
That's right. So she's already tending to Miss Fawcett of Ravenclaw and Mr. Summers of Hufflepuff, who tried to cross the age line earlier.
I would like to point out that the only house here not trying to hoodwink the cup is Slytherin.
Thank you. We're good. We good peeps. Basically, we just don't want to be embarrassed like all you guys.
Oh my god.
Attention, dear Swishers. Adventures out there. Why settle for ordinary chain store coffee when you can have an adventure in every single cup with Expedition Roasters, artisanal roasters of pop culture coffees. Now you can experience a little theme park magic every day at your home. Each themed bag features custom artwork by a guest artiste that makes it perfect for displaying in your kitchen or office or wherever you'd like it to be displayed. Try one of our premium wizarding roasts like Book Smart Blueberry, Charming Chocolate Cherry, Cunning Caramel Crunch, or Big Hearted Butterscotch. All of our coffees are certified gluten and allergen free, so start your coffee adventure today at expeditionroasters.com. And use coupon code SWISHFLICK15 to save 15% off your first purchase. Also, they have teas. Brew your happy, please.
Also, side note.
They do have teas. And
Asterisk.
they're yummy.
Yeah, we need to order some tea.
Yeah, we should. Can we use our own discount code?
Yes.
Also, I'm going to give a little shout out here really quick because they're actually the ones that introduced us to Expedition Roasters. But for any Swishers who have ordered coffee already and want more, you can use the Brookhart Project's code, Brookhart15, and get another 15% off a second order because they also have a code, and they're the ones that told us about Expedition Roasters. Literally, the moment Expedition Roasters posted the house coffees, Sarah from the Brookhart Project texted it to me and was like, you need to get these. And then I did. So,
And then I did.
Shout out to them.
so yeah, if you want a second code, you can use Brookhart15.
I mean, I think you could use the Swish and Flick one more than once.
I don't think you can.
It's
I think
for
it's a
off your
one-time
first.
use.
Yeah.
It's a one-time use.
Also, that's BROOKHART. 15.
Yeah. All right. Today's show is brought to you by Audible. Audible's offering our listeners a free audiobook with a 30-day trial membership. So just go to audibletrial.com/SwishFlickcast and browse the unmatched selection of audio programs. Download a title for free and start listening. Why Audible? Audible content includes an unmatched selection of audiobooks, original audio shows, news, comedy, and more from the leading audiobook publishers, broadcasters, and entertainers. You can get all 7 of the Harry Potter books, Fantastic Beasts, Quidditch Through the Ages, History of Magic, and a Behind the Scenes of Crimes of Grindelwald audiobook. I listen to all the Harry Potter books on Audible on my long drives to and from work, and when you sign up with our code, you get one audiobook for free. So you can pick whatever book that you'd like. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/SwishFlickcast.
Do you know what time it is?
Halloween time?
Yeah. This is Halloween. Oh, Coke. I mean, Jinx, you owe me a Coke.
I mean, Coke.
The usual Halloween decorations. Classic Hogwarts. Live bats, hundreds of carved pumpkins, and I like to think that they really extra did it up as well because they have guests. I wonder if they brought back the dancing skeletons that were rumored that one year. I think that was year 1. Do you remember that?
I need there to be dancing skeletons.
Yeah. At the Gryffindor table, we have Dean and Seamus discussing who from Hogwarts might be entering the tournament. There's a rumor that Warrington, that big bloke from Slytherin who looks like a sloth, quote, entered. And Harry's disgusted and says, we can't have a Slytherin champion. Rude, Harry.
No,
That's
I
rude.
agree.
Also, your own son is going to be a Slytherin, so... And Meg just left the room, and she's not going to hear that.
You
But
can't defend yourself, sassy snake.
all the Hufflepuffs are saying that Cedric Diggory is going to enter. Spoiler, he does. Extra spoiler, he is the champion.
Double extra spoiler. He does.
Angelina Johnson put her name in already. I think she would have been a good contender. Mm-hmm. I think we talked about that before.
I could have been a contender.
The trio decide to go visit Hagrid, and Hermione's like, yeah, I can talk to him about Spew. I haven't yet. So she runs off, and here's Harry, who goes, hey, Ron, it's your friend. Because the students from Beauxbatons were gathering around the Goblet of Fire, and the Vila girl was among them. And one by one, they all put their names in. As each name was entered, it turned briefly red and emitted sparks. So Hermione comes back with her badges, and Ron's like, oh, good, hurry up. He jumps down the stone steps. He's keeping his eyes on the back of the Vila girl. Their relationship. And it's extra funny that she ends up
In their
marrying
family.
her brother. Yeah. Or his brother.
Yeah.
Hermione starts saying that they've been... Oh, I'm sorry. I just jumped ahead. Hagrid's excited to see them. He's like, about time. Thought you'd forgotten about where I live. And Hermione's like, well, we've been really busy. And she just stops talking. Stops dead. She's lost for words because Hagrid was wearing his best and very horrible hairy brown suit plus a checkered yellow and orange tie.
Okay.
This wasn't the worst of it, though. He had evidently tried to tame his hair using large quantities of what appeared to be axle grease. It was now slicked down into 2 bunches. Perhaps he had tried a ponytail like Bill's, but found he had too much hair. The look didn't really suit Hagrid at all. Poor Hagrid. He's just trying.
I just think it took him 2 whole months to go and see him.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's sad. Be better friends to him.
I know they were busy, but usually they go down after the first day of classes.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. Hermione quickly recovers and is like, so how's the Skrewts? And Hagrid said they're getting massive. They must be nearly 3 feet long now, but they've started killing each other.
That's almost as big as me.
Yeah, sames. There's only about 20 left. And Ron's like, well, that's lucky. And Hagrid misses the sarcasm. So the talk turns to the Triwizard Tournament again. That's what everyone's talking about. And Hagrid seems to be as excited as they all are. And he almost says something about the first task, which will make a lot more sense later. But he catches himself and he's like, I don't want to spoil it for you, but just so you know, it's going to be spectacular. The champions are going to have their work cut out. And I bet he wouldn't be saying half of these things if he knew that Harry was in danger of competing.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Plus, earlier, I think it was this chapter, Hermione was like, we haven't learned enough. She says that to Fred and George.
Right.
So it's just
And
reinforcing.
Fred and George are in 7th. No, they're in 6th year, right?
Yeah.
It's just reinforcing the fact that, Harry should not be a part of this competition.
Think of how excited Hagrid is for this first task, though.
Oh, yeah.
And he can't tell them. So he's probably like, it's going to be great, but scary, you know?
Meg, I want to bring up a topic again now that you're back.
Sorry.
Harry was disgusted at the thought of a Slytherin champion. And I defended you and said, hey, your own son's going to be in
I
Slytherin.
didn't. I said good.
Yeah,
No
what about
snakes.
his son? What about Scorpius? What about...
He ain't here yet.
I defended you, babe.
Well, I mean, there's a whole thing dedicated to Slytherins and Goblet of Fire and Time Turners, and Harry has issues.
For Voldemort and Valor, guys.
For Voldemort and Valor.
For V and V. So they had lunch at Hagrid's. He served them what he said was beef casserole. But Hermione found a Talon,
Oh, God.
and they all lost their appetites.
What is it?
Good question.
Maybe
What
it's a
has
Skrewt
talons?
Talon.
Do they have talents?
Maybe it was Hippogriff.
Who knows?
Yeah.
What if it was? He wouldn't do that, would he?
Do the Skrewts have long talons?
Super long talons.
And I love this image. A light rain had started to fall by mid-afternoon. It was very cozy, sitting by the fire, listening to the gentle patter of the drops on the windows, watching Hagrid darning his socks, and arguing with Hermione about house elves, for he flatly refused to join SPEW when she showed him her badges. Hagrid, like many other people that Hermione has encountered, says it'd be doing them an unkindness. It's in their nature to look after humans. It's what they like. It would make them unhappy to take their work away, and insulting if you tried to pay them. And Hermione's like, what about Dobby? And Hagrid said, well, you get weirdos in every breed.
Does he really say weirdos?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, Dobby.
Hagrid reminds me sometimes very much of Ron. they can be the same kind of level of like he'll learn, but he does have sometimes thoughts that I feel are a little bit
Dated.
yeah. Him and Ron are kind of one and the same sometimes with that.
Maybe that's why I love them both.
Like the Wizarding World, like a lot of the times they're progressive, and a lot of the times they're really not.
Let's talk about the fact that they use a quill and ink when pens have existed for a long time.
Yeah,
Like
Right.
stuff like that.
Yeah,
Quills
it's just
are cool.
sometimes I just want to be like, Hagrid, no.
Yeah, we could have a self-inking quill.
Oh, yeah, why isn't that a thing? I mean, that would be amazing.
Maybe they
And
just
Ink would
parchment.
never spill on anything.
Because it's more magical. The aesthetics of it. Whatever.
Whatever.
Ah,
Do you think at home witches and wizards use pens and stuff? It's just
I
like
would say-
Hogwarts requires
I would
quills.
say half-breeds. That's a not nice way to say it. I would say half-bloods and muggleborns for show.
Yeah,
Isn't it Half Breed a Cher song?
I don't know.
I agree with that. I would think that Muggleborns for sure. I bet
And
you
then
there's Muggleborns at Hogwarts that use pens.
For sure. And then I bet you, like, some pure people are like, what is this sorcery? I must own it.
And Arthur
it is
Weasley
a
is
Cher
like,
song.
ooh, a pen.
You ever see those Tumblr
I'm gonna
posts
have a
about that?
collection.
And then there's that one where like Muggleborn shows up with a thermos and it keeps their drink warm all day. And the kids are like, what is that? And they're like, it's thermos. And then you see a bunch of purebloods pointing at their cups going, thermos. And then someone's like, and what if it actually works?
Maybe that's where Muggles got it from.
Maybe.
All right. So it's about 5:30, and the trio know that they should be heading back to the castle for the feast. But more importantly, the announcement of the school champions, because that's what they care about. So Hagrid tells them that he'll come with them, but then he like goes searching for something in his dresser, and then they smell something truly horrible and ask him, "What's that smell?" It's a fun game to play. He seemed a little worried that they didn't like it, and then Hermione asks if it's aftershave. He mutters a response saying it's what is wrong with me? Eau de cologne. Maybe it's a bit much, so he's going to go take it off. So he then goes outside to wash himself in the water barrel, and so Hermione is amazed that Hagrid would be using eau de cologne, and then Harry asks, "What's with the hair and suit?" So then they're like kind of peeking on him outside. They see Madame Maxim and her students leave their carriage heading to the feast. They couldn't hear what Hagrid was saying, but he was talking to Madame Maxim with a rapt, misty-eyed expression that Hagrid had only ever seen him wear once before when he had been looking at the baby dragon Norberta. Young love is what I have in my notes.
Dude, Hagrid and Newt are the same person.
They really are.
'Cause
Yeah.
how does Newt describe Tina's eyes?
That scene is so funny.
It made me
accurate.
cry a little bit. Like I got teared up when he.
I'm not allowed to say.
It's so cute.
Just don't mention nothing about no salamanders.
So Hermione notes that he's going up to the castle with her. She thought he was waiting for them. Nope, you've been forgotten, Hermione. And then I was like, I wonder, has this ever happened to you guys when like one of your friends gets into like a relationship or like the beginnings of a relationship and they forget that you exist, basically? Happens to me. Not happens, but it's happened. Oh, no? Okay.
No, I guess I'm lucky.
I don't know.
I haven't had that happen.
I'm trying to think.
No.
No.
But I know people do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do know that's a thing.
So, without so much as a backwards glance at his cabin, Hagrid was trudging up the grounds with Madame Maxine, the Beauxbatons students following in their wake, jogging to keep up with their enormous strides. So Ron's like, he fancies her. So
I
then
like
the
that
trio's
word,
like,
fancy.
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
so they're like, we probably should leave. So they leave the cabin and they are heading back up to school. And on their way, they watch the dorm string party also head up to the school from the lake because they're staying on the boat. So it says, Victor Crumb was walking side by side with Karkaroff and the other students were straggling along behind them.
Someone has a favorite.
If that's
Yes.
not like so telling, I don't know what is.
The fact that equal standing basically between a student and the headmaster. But I guess like Dumbledore would totally do that with Harry.
Every time somebody says Victor, I just think of that song that the twins sing in the Victor, I love you. Victor, I do. When we're apart, my heart sings only for you.
Hermione's going to be saying that, and Ron's going to be real jealous.
Yeah, he is.
So the great
artist. Sorry.
So the Great Hall was almost full of people and candles. The Goblet of Fire was moved in front of Dumbledore's empty chair at the teacher's table. So Fred and George seemed to be taking their disappointment pretty good. And Fred says, he's like, I hope it's Angelina. And then Hermione agrees. And I said, more young love. It's not to last, though, sadly. The feast seemed to take twice as long, probably because, one, it was their second feast in 2 days. And Harry didn't seem to fancy the extravagantly prepared food as much as he would have normally, because it had been literally 24 hours since the last feast. And also, everyone's impatient about finding out like who the champions are going to be. And it's after what seemed like forever. The plates were removed, and then the judges, and that's Dumbledore, Karkaroff, Madame Maxim, whatever. Ludo Bagman. When I first wrote that, I put Badman, and I laughed at myself. And Mr. Crouch, who looked bored, stood up near the goblet. And so I'm going to read a bit, and it says, he took out his wand, yes.
Do you think that Mr. Bagman is only doing this for... do you think... Let me start that over. Do you think Mr. Crouch is only doing this for Bagman? Like, Bagman begged him to do this project. Like, I want to do this. But he needed Crouch's, like, agreement to do it. So Crouch is just kind of along for the ride, basically, to humor Ludo.
Isn't he part of the department that put it on?
He is. Well, yeah, he is. But that's why, like, I feel like this was probably Ludo's idea. Like, yeah, we should do this. How cool would this be? Because he's so extravagant and over the top. But, like, he needs the cooperation of Crouch and his department in order to make it happen. But Crouch doesn't really care about the Triwizard Tournament. He's really just, like, doing it because it's another one of Ludo's projects. And it is what it is. You know what I mean?
I kind of feel like Barty's doing it because he wants, like, another, like, notch in his belt. And helping to bring back the Triwizard Tournament could be like such an epic thing. But also, I feel like Bagman's doing it so he can make some more bets because I feel like he has a problem.
He does.
I agree there.
I would think that Crouch is going along with it because no matter what, it was going to happen. And he has to, as the head of his department, he has to be there. You know what I mean? So it's more of an obligation than anything else.
I think he's annoyed, but I think he's more annoyed with his personal life.
Agreed. Because right now he's like probably freaking out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Every day.
All right.
Till the end of time.
Dumbledore takes out his wand and he gave a great sweeping wave with it. At once, all the candles except those inside the carved pumpkins were extinguished, plunging them into a state of semi-darkness. The Goblet of Fire now shone more brightly than anything in the whole hall. The sparkling bright, bluey whiteness of the flames was almost painful on the eyes. Everyone watched, waiting. A few people kept checking their watches. So everyone's like sitting there waiting on bated breath. And then the flames inside the goblet turned red again. Sparks flew from it, and the next moment a tongue of flame shot into the air and a charred piece of parchment fluttered out of it. And the whole room gasped. Dumbledore caught it and read the parchment at arm's length in the light of the goblet, which was back to blue-white. The Durmstrang champion! Victor Crumb!
The whole hall just ignites and chromes.
Yes. Crumb. They all fall to pieces.
Yeah.
Crumbs all over the ground.
So no one's surprised at all. Crumb slumped his way towards the head table and went through the door into the next chamber. Karkaroff was loudest with his bravo for Victor. So the noise died down again, and the goblet's flames turned red again, and a second peach flew out.
Princess Peach is the champion.
A second piece of parchment flew out. The Beauxbatons champion! Brrr, fly to the goal! Oh, nobody cares about her, okay. And
I mean, she
Harry-
comes in last place. I don't root for losers. I'm Slytherin.
Oh, I mean, if you really think about it, Cedric came in last place because
He touched the cup. He tied.
I mean he lost the most.
Yeah, but he still won.
What did he win? Death.
He won the cup.
I can't handle any of this.
But I will say I like the different way that the parchment looks in the movie. Like Fleur's looks very feminine-ish, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's cute. So Harry shouts, "It's her, Ron," as the girl who resembled a Vila got gracefully to her feet. And then a little bit later on, Hermione goes, "Oh, look, they're all disappointed," she said over the noise, nodding towards the remainder of the Beauxbatons party. It said in the book, disappointed was a bit of an understatement, Harry thought. 2 of the girls who had not been selected had dissolved into tears and were sobbing with their heads on their arms. Like, come on.
Dramatic.
And there is an article on Pottermore that says how to react when you're not chosen as Hogwarts champion. But we'll find out in 2 shakes of a lamp's tale who was the Hogwarts one. And then I'll read that article. So, that sounds awful. Fleur goes into the door, and then the whole crowd in the Great Hall is truly on the edge of their seats. The Hogwarts champion is next.
Who's it gonna be?
The goblet is red hot again. Sparks showered out of it, and the tongue of flame shot high into the air, and from its tip, Dumbledore pulled the 3rd piece of parchment. Hogwarts, baby! Woo, 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 woo. Their champion is Hufflepuff's main man, Cedric Diggory. And then I was like, why you gotta die? For Baldur and Valor. See, cursed child. And then I said, 3rd or nothing.
3rd or nothing.
3rd or nothing.
So, I'm going to read this now. So it says, we're reading Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. This is when they were doing it for the Wizarding World Book Club. And I guess this theme of that week was jealousy. Let's see. It says, playing in front of huge crowds of glory of your school, being lauded for bravery and magical prowess, instant fame, and exemption from exams. Doesn't take a genius to work out why you'd want to enter the Triwizard Tournament. I would rather live. With a firm age restriction in place and a gift of long white beards to whomever ignores the little rule, Hogwarts is thrown into scandal when Harry, a 4th year, is announced as the Triwizard Tournament's 4th champion. Harry's like, says, while Harry remains nonplussed by these unprecedented events, Ron leaps to the conclusion that the infamous, except that's not what it says, the famous Harry Potter wanted a bit more attention and gets it so wrong. Instead of being proud of Harry or even asking Harry if Harry is all right, he just falls out with him instead at the exact point when Harry could have really done with his best friend, Ron. And it says, maybe Ron should have read our handy guide on how you should actually react if you're not chosen a Hogwarts champion.
Really?
Don't cry or shout or scream or generally make any kind of negative noise. Positivity is the name of the game here. Okay, the disappointment might be gut-wrenching. I don't think it is. Whatever. All those dreams of fame and glory and exam exemption turning to dust beneath your feet. Dust that is no doubt about to get kicked up even more by the actual champion, especially if that champion already gets more than his or her fair share of glory. But don't let them see you suffer. It makes you look bitter and jealous, which you may well be, but it's not going to help anyone, including you. So smile. It says, you've seen the Oscars, right? A gracious smile is the best way to save face. I'm not going to read the whole thing. Nod graciously. For that is what truly gracious losers do. They move their heads up and down slowly while smiling. See above. It says, congratulate the chosen champion. This is very important. Here's to looking at you, Ron. It says, after the dust has settled, seek out the chosen champion, especially if the chosen champion is a friend of yours. And then it says, do not let them find you alone in your dormitory, hugging a pillow and or staring moodily at curtains around your bed.
Or Judely.
Yes. Invite them to celebrate. If you were Hogwarts champion, you would want to celebrate with your friends, right? So bury those feelings for a while and get them a butterbeer. Support them. Unfortunately, you're going to have to keep this up for a while. You know, the public smiling and the not crying and the congratulating. You're probably even going to have to cheer for the actual Hogwarts champion, or it's plural. At some point, maybe make a sign to wave at the tournament maybe admire some magical feats or other. Don't worry. No Triwizard Tournament lasts forever, but your support will be noted and appreciated. And remember, which all in all is a much better look. So I think that's cool.
I like it.
So don't be
That's funny.
mean to your friends.
Correct.
Okay, thanks, bye.
Check your jealousy at the door.
So Ron isn't happy that Cedric has been chosen and says no loudly, but he wasn't heard because every single Hufflepuff had jumped to his or her feet, screaming and stamping as Cedric made his way towards the door and into the next chamber. And it says the applause for Cedric went on so long that it was some time before Dumbledore could make himself heard again. So Dumbledore starts to make his speech about how he knows he can count on all of the students to give support their respective champion, but he gets distracted because the fire in the goblet had just turned red again. Sparks were flying out of it. A long flame shot suddenly into the air, and borne upon it was another piece of parchment. So he's like shocked. And so Dumbledore takes the paper and he reads the name, and there was a long pause where he stared at the parchment. And while he's staring at the parchment, everyone in the hall is staring at Dumbledore. He then clears his throat and read out, Harry Potter. And so I want to know, I wonder what was going through his head at that point in time. Like, I wonder if he's thinking, like, I wonder if he knows it's connected to Voldemort.
It's
being
immediately
like,
danger.
For sure. Because it's a dangerous tournament. But I don't think
No,
there's any
because
doubt
of
in his
that.
mind. I don't think he would think that Harry put his name in that. Like, I think he's just asking that in the next chapter to
Clear the air for everyone else.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's worried about Harry competing in the test. And truthfully, I mean, I'm not either. Yeah, his magic may not be as advanced as the older kids, but it's him, you know? He's different. But I think Dumbledore's automatically thinking of something bigger.
I remember, were you going to say something? I remember reading this for the first time in the book. It has like a page and then like maybe a paragraph on the next, before it's the next chapter. And I remember reading, I saw that I was on the last part of the chapter and I looked over and the last words were Harry Potter and I was like, and I had to read super fast to see how that happened. Oh man.
Pulling a Sarah.
I didn't
Yeah,
need to.
know.
My eyes just looked, and it was in italics. And
So there's a theory too, and I tried. Someone I swear posted it in our group, and then I couldn't find it, and I also didn't search that hard about the fact that the cup chose not necessarily the best representation for the champions from each school, so that Harry had a better chance of winning and getting the cup that was a port key.
yeah,
I like-
if someone could find that, send it. But
Yeah.
I wonder. I don't know. I think it's the article I put in here, but what they were basically saying in that was, so Mad-Eye Moody Judy says that only an
Mad-Eye Judy.
exceptionally powerful Confundus charm could have hoodwinked it.
Yep.
So the person's argument in this article was saying that in order to do this, they basically had to make, whoever this person was that cast this charm, basically had to make the cup forget how to do its job. Mm-hmm. So does that mean that it just picked 4 people at random? And since Harry's was the only one in whatever school they submitted, he automatically would have been the one who was picked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that an argument? I don't know.
I like
Because
that.
it did forget how to do its job. So maybe all of the magical...
Because Triwizard tries 3.
Right.
So it had to
I don't
quadruple
know.
wizard tournament.
Well, this is what it says. It says, because they hoodwinked a very powerful magical object, said Moody, it would have needed an exceptionally strong Confundus charm to bamboozle the goblet into forgetting that only 3 schools compete in the tournament. I'm guessing they submitted Potter's name under a 4th school to make sure that he was the only one in his category.
I think that's fair.
I think also, yeah, like to a point, it would have had to been confunded, but like, I think that its biggest job is to pick one person from each school that's
Yes.
submitted.
Worthy.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah.
The worthiest, quote unquote.
And I don't mean
Strongest
to
character.
And because it was confunded, maybe it helped it decide who to choose.
well, like, I don't mean to, like, stomp on Cedric or anything, but, like, we've talked about how we thought Angelina Johnson would have been a great
Yeah, for sure.
representation of Hogwarts. Mm-hmm. And even, like, with what's his name?
It was
Crumb.
nice to not see a Gryffindor get it. Sorry, Tiffany.
I mean, I agree. It's
They
like nice
did
to
get
see
it,
that there's
though.
other houses. I mean, but like, I don't know, things.
I'm gonna talk up my own house because
You should.
because the best part of Hufflepuff is that we're most likely a mix of all the houses, so we don't
True.
always fit specifically into Gryffindor, Ravenclaw, or Slytherin, and we have skill levels all over the place. So having someone be in, like, not worthy, I don't like that word, but like the best judge of character, I could see it being a Hufflepuff because it could be someone who is a little bit of all the houses who just encompasses,
Hogwarts.
yeah, Hogwarts. I don't know.
I like it. I think he's a fine champion.
I'm trying to say he's a fine jam.
I think he's a good champion, but I do think that Angelina would have been an awesome choice.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because she's Gryffindor.
Tiffany.
Do we want to go to Lightning Bolt?
Sure.
We have a couple.
Would you put your name
Thank you.
in the Goblet of Fire? If we'll just say, assuming you are of an age and you're able to.
Yep.
I would not.
I probably would have.
Yeah, I probably would have.
I would have been like, I'll watch.
I'd have put my name in. I would have gotten it, and I would have won.
Whoa. Would you be willing to try foreign foods at the feast?
Some.
Some of them. I don't
Probably
eat
not
fish,
bully-based, just
but
saying.
I would try other stuff.
Yeah.
I would have tried it. I mean, I'm pretty adventurous with trying food, so
Not as adventurous as me.
okay.
I ate escargot once.
Ugh, how was that?
It's so good.
It's a texture thing for me. I didn't like the texture.
Would you try to get an autograph from Victor Crumb?
no,
I'd be scared.
I'm just not.
I don't know if I'd care enough.
Yeah.
I probably would.
Yeah.
I am
'cause you-
so
that's what you
good
do.
at getting celebrity autographs.
How
is.
good are you with getting Dan Radcliffe? to sign
Really
something?
horrible. Really bad with Dan Radcliffe's. But
all of them.
I've gotten James and Oliver Phelps. I've gotten Michael
I had
Gambon.
Yeah, but how many of these did you pay
they're
for?
None of those. I didn't pay for those. Ivana Lynch, I got like 2 of her.
3.
3.
Ding.
Ouch.
That was real loud.
No, the only ones that I've paid for are Bonnie Wright, Tom Felton,
That
and
was a
Matthew
gift.
Lewis.
And
Tom Felton's a
Tiffany
good-
O'Malley. She's paid for that one.
But I did not pay for any of the others. I got those at the celebration back before it was really hard to get autographs at the celebration.
When there was a celebration.
Yeah. If the visiting students got sorted into houses, where do you think Fleur would have gone?
Ravenclaw.
Victor and Slytherin, duh.
I think they do fit at the houses that they sat at, actually.
I'm not going to lie. I think Victor is a Hufflepuff.
I
I'm
could see
down
that.
with that.
Yeah, I don't think
could
he's a
see
Slytherin.
that. He does. He has a very, not that Slytherins don't have a good heart.
No, you know what? I would 1,000%
You know what I'm saying?
agree
He's a
with that.
loyal dude.
I think he's
Yeah.
a Hufflepuff.
I think so too.
A Fleur, I think Ravenclaw
I think that or Slytherin.
I was gonna say
or
that.
Slytherin.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say that.
I think Ravenclaw.
I think a titch more Ravenclaw, but I could see her in Slytherin.
Her
Yeah.
ambition doesn't really strike me.
Who in your life would have been under the lake in the second task? So essentially, your treasured possession / person.
Iggy.
Not even Katie. Good gosh.
I'm kidding. It probably would be Katie.
Mine would be Miss
What?
Probably.
Well, I think it could be you or Iggy or Teddy.
Cats over people. We know how you are.
My little fluff nuggets.
All right. Well, mine would be the same, except not myself. You.
See?
I mean,
Oh
I
my
don't,
god,
I'm-
how
I
can
don't
you
have
say
a
that? The
boyfriend.
cat could be under the lake.
Well, like, would your
It
sister
could be
or
like your mom.
or Tiffany?
Don't I sound so cool? My mom would be waiting for me under the lake.
Kelly.
It's not the wrong.
It doesn't have to be a
possibly Alana.
significant other. I mean,
Yeah.
like,
I'm not saying it doesn't. or
Harry
does.
has Ron. What about
We
Jen?
don't know what they do.
What about Jen?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Jessica causing marital discord problems. Just kidding. We're
Tiff,
good.
would it be Marty or Alana?
Alana.
See? Gee, Iggy's my son. My God.
I'm celebrating my friendiversary with my son Iggy on Facebook today.
Oh my gosh.
You've been friends with him on Facebook for 6 years.
Oh, you guys have any lightning bolt rounds?
Not a lightning bolt round, but someone in here talked about if we heard the Warrington theory, and I looked it up.
Oh,
What is it?
Honestly, I haven't read that yet. I'm sorry.
So there's a theory. It says, this is from Pop Sugar. It says, get ready to breathe in and breathe out. Harry Potter fans, a recent theory is sparking up a conversation on the internet on how the entire series could have changed. The single theory is based on one passage in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire involving the most underrated Hogwarts house, Slytherin. And it says
How
this-
are they the most underrated?
Because people
Everybody
hate
hates
us for
it.
no
That
reason.
doesn't mean you're underrated.
Yeah, it
just means
does.
people hate you.
So the
Their character's
speculation
underrated.
outlined by Tumblr user Crazy but Perfectly Sane discusses the idea of Cassius Warrington of Slytherin being chosen to compete in the Triwizard Tournament instead of Cedric. Both characters would still continue to help each other throughout the book up until the very end when Voldemort still decides to kill Warrington. The user discusses the possibility that this might have united the Slytherins against Voldemort so they could have fought against him in the Battle of Hogwarts. Pretty crazy, right? The entire post is below, so I'll read it. It's not terribly long. And the person goes, so I was rereading Harry Potter when I came across the thought, what if instead of Cedric Diggory, Cassius Warrington had been chosen to compete in the Triwizard Tournament?
Where does Cassius Warrington come from? Is she mentioned in the book?
Warrington is...
Warrington.
You missed that part of my section.
Oh,
Dean
okay.
and Seamus are talking, and they're like, I heard Warrington
Yeah.
entered.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Sorry.
It says the big bloke that looks like a slither. Looks like a sloth.
Oh, right. Okay.
And it says, imagine Dumbledore calling out the name of the Hogwarts champion, and it isn't a Gryffindor or a Ravenclaw or even a Hufflepuff.
Hey.
But it's a Slytherin. A student from a house most people hate. Imagine Cassius Warrington getting up and 3 out of 4 houses are booing at him and shouting things like, no, or we can't have a Slytherin champion, or demanding a retry. But he's a Slytherin. He's been dealing with this bleep since he got sorted. So he keeps his head high and joins the other champions. Imagine Harry trying to catch Warrington alone because he doesn't really want to associate with Slytherins. Plus, Malfoy seems to be around the guy all the time now that he's the Hogwarts champion. But at the same time, he's also fair enough not to want him to walk into the first task unprepared. Imagine Warrington walking over to Harry a few months later, and Ron and Hermione both jump into a protective stance, wands out, but instead of attacking Harry, he just tells him to stick the egg underwater because Slytherins don't forget those who have helped them out. Imagine Warrington and Harry helping each other out in the labyrinth. Imagine Harry being devastated when Peter kills Warrington because Voldemort doesn't care what house they're from. A spare is a spare. Imagine the uproar that causes among the Slytherins because some of their parents really are Death Eaters and they know what really happened. Imagine Slytherins fighting in the Battle of Hogwarts and shouting, "This is for Cassius."
Oh, that hit me in the
like it.
feels.
And then it says, however, the theory train didn't stop there. Another user, Platonic Jacuzzi, took it upon themselves to delve deeper into what Cassius's death would have mean to Slytherin, Hogwarts, and Harry. This would include Slytherins realizing that purebloods aren't safe from Voldemort, joining Dumbledore's army, and eventually facing off against he who must not be named at last. And the rest of the imagined storyline is below. Ooh. That's even longer, so I don't know if I want to read it all.
That's awesome, though.
I'll copy and paste this into the doc, and then we can
Post it.
post it. Because
Yeah, for sure.
I'm into that a lot. And I was saying after watching Cursed Child that I loved the fact that we're reading this book when we're going to see it because
Perfect.
it so much connects, and it's like a good refresher. I mean, so much
Yeah.
connects, it's the whole story, but like it's a good refresher.
I think that, and we've talked about this a lot, but like Joe pushes those stereotypes of Hufflepuff and Slytherin onto the readers. And I mean, it's the stereotypes. It's, you're reading about a kid who's basically going through high school
Clicks.
and that it's going to be what it is, and that's fine. But it would have been really nice to see her come up with a way to redeem Slytherin in the OG 7 novels.
Yes.
And I think that I just think that like I get the stigma. Like there is a lot of negative things that happen around Slytherin and with Slytherin, and like I think that potentially is why I like Cursed Child so much. Even like, you know, I mean, I'd been talking about it with you guys since before like you two saw it, and I just think that the light that it sheds on Slytherin is awesome. And I mean, granted, Albus and Scorpius do plenty of things that they shouldn't do and get in trouble, but it shows that they are good people.
Well, and Harry does a bunch of stuff that he's not supposed
Right,
to, you know, and
right.
he's just looked because
he's
we're looking at
glorified.
him. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all about your perspective
Right.
on any situation, you know?
So I think this would have been amazing. And like there's no not, you know, I do like though that she did choose to shine a bright light on Hufflepuff during this book.
They needed it, you know?
Yeah, but like I feel like there could have like that could have happened in a different way, whereas like this would have totally changed the Slytherin's timeline.
Yeah.
Just
Oh, yeah.
completely.
But it
Yeah.
wasn't supposed to, you know what I mean?
No.
Well, she's also like shocked that people, she's like, why would you hate Hufflepuffs? Why would you think?
It's
Because
like,
you,
well-
you made us.
I'm not sure that she's necessarily shocked. I think she feels bad and she's trying to cover up. Just saying.
Oh, maybe.
But she created those things. I mean, it was meant for us to think those things. You know, Ryder's
Yeah,
right.
definitely.
In order to make us think things, she wanted us to hate Slytherins. She wanted us to think that Hufflepuff was a load of duffers. And now she wants to, you know, kind of switch and change that. But maybe she writes that way to challenge us to see who's not going to think that Slytherins are evil, who's not going to, you know,
I think that
disrespect Hufflepuffs.
I think too, though, again, as I said before, like we are reading this book from a child's perspective, Harry's perspective, who is in Gryffindor, the known rival of Slytherin. Bless you. The known rival of Slytherin. Bless you.
Thank you.
So, like, she had to write things the way that she did. Like, that's, you know, that's how Harry's going to perceive them, and it is what it is. But that would have been a really cool redeeming moment.
For sure. For sure.
I'm on board.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
All right. Fan story?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Fan story.
This week comes from Kimberly. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for making this podcast. It's a bright spot in my week, and I'm always looking forward to the new episode coming out. To be honest, I don't remember how or when I started reading Harry Potter. I was always a reader as a kid, and I think at one point I picked them up and never put them down. As a kid, I worked at my family's farm stand, and every time I didn't have a customer, I would be reading and reading, finishing 7 and starting 1 again. It was something that me and my friends could all really relate to. Harry Potter helped me get through the anxiety problems I didn't even know I had as a kid. I could easily and quickly dive into Harry's world rather than face up to the real-life stressors I was facing. Looking back, that's probably where a lot of my love and obsession came from, the swift escape. In college, I met my best friend when I approached a group on my second date and asked them what they were talking about. When they shamelessly said Harry Potter, I knew I had found my kind. In high school, I went to see the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. The night before, I studied the map, and when we got there, I leapt out of the car and raced straight through Hogsmeade to the castle, where I immediately started crying. It was so overwhelming to see the embodiment of such an important place in my life that had a key. I'm confused as to how this was typed. I'm sorry.
Embodiment of such an important place in my life that had only existed in the books and on screen.
Okay, I'm going to start that again. It was so overwhelming to see the embodiment of such an important place in my life that it only existed in the books and on screen. In adulthood, I strayed from Harry Potter, being distracted with marriage, family, and work, but I found your podcast while renovating my 1860s home and used it as my entertainment while stripping the paint off my staircase or putting insane amounts of primer on the walls trying to cover the wood paneling. When I traveled to London with my sister in May, your podcast is what relit my passion for all things Harry Potter. You guided me to House of Mina Lima, where I got some stunning prints for my dining room. I just want to say a very sincere thank you for bringing the childhood joy and enthusiasm back into my life. Listening to Swish and Flick reminds me of a conversation with my own friends, and it reminds me how important finding magic and excitement in your day is. Thank you for doing what you do, and don't let the muggles get you down. Kim. P.S. I'm a Slytherin.
Woo-woo!
P.S.S. If you're ever on Long Island and in wine country, reach out. I would love to treat you to a glass of wine and enjoy some Harry Potter talk.
Oh, that's very kind.
Thank you so much for your story.
Thank you, Kim. Like, honestly,
Thank you.
I think Sarah said it maybe last episode or the one before that, like, we don't feel worthy of your praise, but it means the world.
Yeah, definitely.
So thank you for coming back into Potter. Thank you for your story. And I would love to have a glass of wine with you and talk some Potter.
Yeah. All right. Oh, I'm yawning. You can find Swish and Flick Podcast on Facebook. We're also on Twitter and Instagram at SwishFlickCast. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and then also follow us on Patreon. Join Patreon to get access to our Discord channel and to gain access to our bi-monthly episodes called The Felix Files. You can find us there at patreon.com/SwishFlickCast. And lastly, make sure that you check out our website, swishflickcast.com, to see all the info on us there and all of our merchandise.
Super cool.
I am not doing much besides being a mom and a wife and teacher
That's killing it,
in
Tiffany.
person.
That's doing a lot.
Yeah. I hope by this time, when this comes out, I hope I've played more Majora's Mask. I'm in the swamp, which is the first temple.
You got this.
Yeah.
I really want to start Mario Odyssey.
Let's do it today.
I would love to.
When we get home
It's
from the
pretty
orchestra.
good. I mean, as far as like 3D Marios go, it's pretty good.
Or we can bust out the GameCube games and play Mario Sunshine.
We
No,
can just
play something
bust
new.
out the Wii and
Oh,
play
yeah.
Mario
Yeah.
Sunshine on there.
Pokemon.
Play Pokemon again.
I will be Pokemon Sword.
I'll be Shield.
Okay.
Follow my wedding design / invitation design Instagram at Whimsy Wedding Design. I'll be posting all the stuff that I've made, and hopefully it'll probably link to like my Facebook page and stuff where I'll put some pricing and whatnot for invitation design. So if anybody needs any, I can also just do like digital ones and stuff and send them to you if you are overseas and don't want me to actually like print and assemble. I could just like send files for you to print.
Yeah.
So
That's a good point.
yeah.
Go follow me and Meg on YouTube at Main Street 9 3/4 if you want to see some cool vlogs, Potter stuff, Disney stuff, London, Scotland stuff.
Also, we're gonna begin vlogging our
New York trip, right?
well, yeah, I have a vlog for our New York trip. That's gonna go on Swish and Flick's YouTube, but on our page, Main Street 9 3/4, in a couple weeks' time from when this airs, we're gonna start vlogging our fertility journey as a same-sex couple. So if anybody finds that interesting, you can
Check it
watch
out.
that there. I couldn't find a lot of stuff on it out in the tube of you, so I figured maybe we should give it to people
I'm sure people are gonna love it.
I hope so.
because it's quite a different experience than a normal couple.
And even if not,
Yeah.
we'll love to
You
keep
are
it
normal.
documented. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, normal's relative. You know?
It's
I
quite
still think
different
you're
than
both
a
weirdos.
heterosexual relationship.
There you go.
What about you, Sarah?
Did you guys finish your stuff?
Yeah.
I'm not really doing much with my life. Coming back, just got back from California by the time this comes out. And then my birthday's coming up. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. I'm trying to think if I've done anything or read anything lately. Hopefully I've finished another book by the time this comes out because it's in a month from when we're recording this.
You got some long flights. You can read on those.
There you go.
Yeah. So we'll see. Just trying to live my life, applying to schools and stuff because it's stressful. And we'll see what happens. Who knows what I'll be in a month.
It's a good chunk of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all going to be pretty busy, so we had to do these early.
Yep.
All right. That concludes this week's episode. Thank you so much for listening, and don't let the muggles get you down.
Amazing! Just my voice!
Do it to the mic. You're talking.
You're so cute. Look at you. You're a pro. You a natural.
Say hi.
Does that taste good?
It's gross.
She's like, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm going to lick it now.
What do you have to say? Goblet of Fire.
Sweet pea.
Hello.
Hi.